On time. Let's see. Oh, great. Let's see. Hi, Tyler. Thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. I wanted to just take a moment to really thank you for the chance to join us today and to be here. Um, you are a health systems pharmacy administration and leadership resident. Can you please tell us, those of us that hopefully, I really hope that by now, many of you know what HS PAL's residencies are, but every program structure is super different. So I always want everyone to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves and just tell us a little bit about their journey so far. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. My name's Tyler Wempen. I'm currently one of the first year HSPAL residents at Froedtert Hospital in the Medical College of Wisconsin, which is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm originally from Iowa, so made the move up here over the summer to join the Froedtert Hospital community. And yeah, so I'm one of the health system and leadership health system, pharmacy, and leadership residents. The name changes all the time, so it's
Yeah.
depending on who you talk to. But yeah, so kind of the way my program is structured is my first year mirrors a lot like a PGY1 inpatient focused clinical pharmacy position. And then kind of in the springtime, when I have more of my electives, is when it starts to make that transition towards being more of an administration resident.
Gotcha.
And then my second year is solely just doing administrative rotations and projects. And then a unique thing about our program is at the same time, we're enrolled in master's coursework.
Ah,
So I'm also doing my master's in healthcare administration through the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, and that is something that my program sponsors and pays for. So
that's
that was
awesome.
really nice.
So at the end of 2 years, you
Mhm.
have an area of specialty by training as well as a master's degree to accompany that training.
Yes.
That's pretty that's been paid for. I think that's
Right.
very I think that's a very important point to talk about. That's been paid for,
Mhm.
which is really awesome. And I really want to pause there because that's a really important point that Tyler brings up. Not only do all residency programs not offer the master's degree as part of their packages, but they may not also pay for it fully. So this is where some of those really targeted questions when you're engaging with programs, asking them what they offer, the extent to which they offer the program. These are not questions you should be afraid to ask. I feel like I have to say that out loud all the time because many questions they really think that if they asked about the structure of the program, that would be viewed as like a negative. So it's kind of like the programs are looking for you, you're looking for them. The only way this is going to work is if you guys get to know each other, and that only happens by asking questions. And so what made you decide that this was going to be, did you always know? I always want to know that part. Like, was it clear for you early on that it was going to be an HSPAL training for you, or did you have a moment or meet somebody? What happened?
Yeah, so kind of my journey of getting here. Originally, when I was, started pharmacy school, I really thought I was going to do something clinical. My area of interest is cardiology, so I was dead set on being a like cardiology pharmacist or specialist.
Awesome.
And then, actually, in one of my didactic classes, I was at the University of Iowa, and one of their HSPL residents came over and gave us sort of like a mini lecture during one of our didactic sessions.
Yeah.
And I had some questions about some of the material that he went over. So I talked to him after class, and he had told me he was a HSPL resident. And at the time, I didn't know what that was or even knew that that was something that existed. So
Yeah.
I'd asked him a little more questions, got to know him a little better. And he said, well, yeah, this sounds like something, you'd be interested in or you might be a good fit for. Would you want to come in and shadow me? So I spent some time shadowing him, got to know him really well, and then take on some like additional projects that he offered me, and that's really kind of that aha moment for me where I realized that this is something that I want to pursue.
Yeah,
I think everybody kind of goes into pharmacy school of thinking that they're there to help take care of the patient. They're
absolutely.
really big on like patient care and patient interaction, which is something that I still enjoy and desire to this day.
Yeah,
However, that kind of like next step of opening that door to helping more patients on more of like a bigger level
absolutely.
was something that really interested me with this sort of track. So ever since probably like that second semester of my first year of pharmacy school, I'd kind of known that this was the route that I want to pursue.
That's amazing. I think it's really cool that you had an opportunity to shadow him and even worked on projects. So this is another really big point, guys. Like Tyler's an example of what happens when you step out of your comfort zone and just ask people and just talk to people. You have no idea like what the conversations could lead to. I'm always just encouraging you guys to anybody you meet genuinely find out what it is that they do, particularly if you're so early in your pharmacy journey, because you're going to be surprised by what you end up learning. For the P1s and the P2 students, just thinking about my folks that are not going to be in the trenches in a few weeks, just getting ready to go to mid-year and all that jazz, but those people early in their journey, what are some things that you have to offer them as far as what they may be able to do to prepare themselves for this next chapter, which is just postgraduate, like after the grades are all done with? What are some things that they could do to prepare themselves for the next chapter of their professional careers?
Yeah, so definitely kind of what you had emphasized earlier, just get out, meet people, ask those questions, especially if you don't know. And really, networking was something that was really huge to me during pharmacy school. And just having that network behind you, it can never hurt you. Let's just say that. So,
Yeah,
I can't tell you the people that I've met, the job opportunities that I've had, have all been through people that I have met and interacted with.
absolutely.
Especially now, kind of coming out of COVID,
Yeah,
just even like if you're involved in a student organization in school, going to like a national conference, um, that's a great way to meet people and meet people out of your normal circle. So, it's one thing to like meet people at your school, or, if you're in a state or a community that has multiple, schools of pharmacy. Um, this last weekend, I just went to ASHP Leaders Conference and
yeah,
was able to meet people from California. Being in Wisconsin and from the Midwest, I would have never met those people, or people
yeah,
out of Texas had I not gone to that conference. So definitely network with people and just get out of your comfort zone, like you said.
yeah,
Go to conferences. That's like the other half of getting the grades,
yeah.
working, and doing all that during pharmacy school. So I always encourage people to take those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Such great advice. Like, fear is not going to get you anything. And I think a lot of the fear just centers around what if they approach someone and that person says no. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. They're one person in a profession of thousands of other people. If one person says no, that's okay. Just move on to the next person, because I'm pretty sure there are other people that are just there waiting for the opportunity to impact that next generation of leaders and helping develop that next group. With respect to your program,
Mhm.
um, how many positions does it offer?
So for our HSPL program, we do a 2+2. So we
Gotcha.
have two first year residents, then we have two second year residents. So anybody that's going through the application process is going to be looking at those first two positions, because it is a combined first year, second year program,
Gotcha.
which also is nice because then you're not having to scramble and try to
Yeah.
figure out your position for next year. You're guaranteed one.
Absolutely. And so are both positions HSPAL positions?
Those ones are, yes.
Okay.
although our combined resident class has about 42 residents in it. So,
Oh, wow. That's a huge program.
mhm.
Okay. So we have an opportunity tomorrow to hear from your programs administrator, whom I'm sure will be able to share a lot of those details with the structure of the program and the distribution of residents. So I'm encouraging you guys to tune in tomorrow to hear directly from her. Um, how has your year been? And I think you talked a little bit about the first part of it being very clinically driven, or there how are the projects assigned? Is it more of you come up with it, or were you given a list to pick from? Like, how did you, or how will you decide what projects you work on?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So my year, I would say so far has gone very well. So far, I've taken a medicine rotation, a neurology rotation, and then currently I'm on my cardiology rotation. And then the way my program's set up is we do have staffing weeks that are kind of intertwined in there. So I've also done some staffing blocks as well. But for the most part, a lot of it is pretty well set up. So each rotation you go into, you're at least guaranteed to do one sort of like patient case presentation and about one topic discussion a week. So
Mhm.
those are pretty structured, pretty laid out. If there are any additional projects, so say you're more clinical focused and you want to maybe get a letter of rec or do something like that,
Yeah.
there are definitely other opportunities you can pick up there.
Okay.
Me being kind of the admin person, I have other projects that my program director kind of assigns me or things that I identify that I want to pick up.
Yeah.
So those are things that kind of I do instead of on the clinical side. But for my research project, that was something where in the beginning of the year, they got everyone together. All of the kind of projects were laid out on a spreadsheet. And
Mhm.
during our orientation week, the primary investigators for each one of those projects, kind of went through and said, this is what my project is. This is kind of what I anticipate it being. And then everybody got to rank and kind of select their projects that they wanted
Gotcha.
to do to be their like longitudinal year-long research project.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because for such a big program, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things to pick from and deciding which one you're going to do. So you are going to mid-year, that's my understanding. And will the program be participating in the showcase as well?
Yes, we're going to mid-year. We're going to be in the showcase, and then also for any PGY2 positions, or particularly the HSPL program,
Mhm.
we're going to be doing PPS as well. So we'll be on site in person there doing those.
Doing those. Okay, great. So I was like, yeah, thinking about that. PPS, it hasn't come up often, but I know some of the PGY ones or people applying to PGY ones have like hit me up. What is PPS? But the people applying for PGY2, they know exactly. They should know at this point exactly where PPS is, as I think it should be opening up really, really soon
Mhm.
for things to start. So, as far as your aspirations with following residency, do you know yet where the wind's blowing yet, or you have like a super clear idea about what opportunities you're hoping to pursue after you complete residency? I think a lot of people they like care to know like what does the future forecast look like for someone who will be HS PAL residency trained with a master's degree. What are some of those positions that you would be an excellent fit for, either based on your interest or your qualifications?
Gotcha. Yeah, so kind of my job outlook for after residency. So with having that master's degree,
Yeah.
that does kind of open the door wide open for any sort of possibilities.
Mhm.
I am looking more towards working at an academic medical center.
Yeah.
Would be probably just starting out as like a clinical pharmacy manager or an operations manager
Mhm.
in some capacity. Specialty is something that I want to get a little bit more exposure in, which I have a rotation this
Mhm.
spring in, because
So,
that's kind of a hot area right now.
yes, it is.
Yeah, kind of along with oncology as well. Those are two growing areas within pharmacy. Uh,
Mhm.
but I will say for HSPL, the job market is looking very good.
Yeah.
There are lots of opportunities, and they're growing as kind of the future goes on. So and it has enough job movement and turnover to where I would definitely encourage people, if they're worried about job security, this is definitely a good area to go into within pharmacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of getting back to having that Master's of Healthcare Administration, that's something that's recognized outside of pharmacy. So
Yeah.
if you want to be a hospital administrator or do something with, maybe another healthcare organization that isn't necessarily related to pharmacy,
Yeah.
have that opportunity. And that was something that was really important to me.
Hmm.
When looking at programs were what sort of degrees do they offer?
Yeah.
Because like an MHA or an MBA just offers that extra and additional flexibility.
Hmm.
Do something or have an opportunity come up that you maybe wouldn't have before.
Absolutely. I think that that versatility right now in the climate that we're in is everything. Like just what you've described, the masters that allows you to really be a great candidate for opportunities outside of pharmacy. I think that that's something that's super attractive too. That's awesome. It's exciting. And like you're talking about the job outlook, I think HS PALS is also like this other functional area in clinical practice of pharmacy leadership right now. It's not saturated, and there's a very, very, very big need for highly qualified, highly trained individuals that are visionaries that have good, sound clinical foundation that are going to come in and really change um, entire departments' processes around value and outcome based services. I think it's really, really awesome. So, from your journey, Tyler, what is some wisdom that you've picked up along the way? Like, what is something I personally, I really, really think that yes, destination is awesome, the journey's cool, but it's the things that we learn about ourselves or even what we're going through the journey along the way that really, really kind of shapes us. And when we're ready to contribute or give back to other people coming up after us, that's where like I tend to draw from. It's like if I was to do it again, here's what I think I would do. And it's always so interesting because for students, they look at you like, why would you change anything? It worked out beautifully. It worked out beautifully for you. Why would you change anything? But reality is there's always something to be learned on the other side once you reach your destination. What would you say something or even things like that have been like for you?
Yeah, so kind of looking back on my journey and some things I maybe would have changed or done differently. Um, Kind of going through undergraduate and pharmacy school, I did have some research experience,
Okay.
but I didn't have a ton of it, and I didn't have any publications.
Hmm.
That's something that I maybe would have pursued a little bit more while I was going through pharmacy school.
Yeah.
Another area that I wish I would have had more time or maybe put some emphasis on, because when I'm kind of going back and like now that we're going into recruitment season,
Yeah.
kind of thinking about, CVs and kind of some areas of improvement. One thing that I didn't have that much to list under was sort of like community service or like volunteering.
Yeah.
During school, I put a really big emphasis on work.
Yes.
And I know for some people, that's kind of by nature just due to financials.
Yeah.
If you have those opportunities to, go out, volunteer, give back to the community,
Yeah.
that's something that I wish I could have done more of. And I would encourage anybody to do that as well.
Yeah.
Kind of just, yeah, again, what I iterated earlier, always be open, reach out to people, don't say no, keep the doors wide open.
Yeah.
Because, the more you start shutting things off, that's kind of where you can narrow yourself and kind of limit opportunities. So I always say just take every opportunity you can, uh,
Mhm.
whether that's going to a conference or, taking a lunch with somebody or getting coffee.
Yeah.
You never know what that person can have to offer you. And more often than not,
Yeah.
I would say even like 95% of the time or more, a lot of those individuals are very open and willing to help students and learners,
Mhm.
um, get to where they want to go and provide them every opportunity they can.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
They're definitely there to help you.
Yeah.
I would encourage you, yeah, to just reach out and get to know them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that advice. So we know that the Tyler's program is going to be at mid-year, and they will be participating in the showcase. And we have an opportunity tomorrow to also speak with the program administrator. I'm really, really excited. We've kind of had Tyler's perspective on what his year is like and what it's been like for him, but we'll have an opportunity to hear from the administrator tomorrow as well, where we'll be able to ask more questions about the program and its structure and things like that. Is it okay for prospective candidates to reach out to you, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if my email is shared there, but definitely, we can get that out to you. Feel
Okay.
free to email me. I'm always on my email, so willing to, set up a time if you want to chat more about HSPL residency specifically,
Yeah.
or just any, resident questions that you might have. I'm
Mhm.
willing to sit down and, have those conversations with you. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
That's awesome. We are so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. And Tyler, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And I will see you at midyear. I am promising to see everybody at midyear, and I'm definitely going to come looking for all of you at the showcase to at least say hi. I know everybody will be busy, but I hope that I have an opportunity to finally meet you in person in a short month or so now. Like it doesn't even seem that far away anymore.
Yeah,
It's
quick.
pretty much, yeah, it's pretty much here. Thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Have a good
Good
night.
night. You too.